Cheating in a relationship is one of the most painful experiences a person can go through, often leading to feelings of betrayal, confusion, and heartbreak. While it can be difficult to accept, there are usually signs that indicate your partner may not be as faithful as they seem. If you're noticing a shift in your relationship dynamic, it's important to trust your instincts and pay attention to potential red flags. At first, these signs might be subtle, such as your partner becoming more distant or guarded with their phone. It could also manifest in changes in their behavior, like increased secrecy, frequent late-night work shifts, or an unexplained decrease in intimacy. You might also notice they're becoming more critical of you or your relationship, which could be a way to deflect attention from their own actions. In some cases, your partner's emotional distance may be accompanied by physical changes like altered grooming habits or new fashion choices that seem out of character for them. Another classic sign of infidelity is a sudden increase in time spent away from home, such as working late or going out with friends more frequently, often with vague explanations and little to no details. While none of these signs alone can confirm cheating, they are worth considering if you begin to notice several of them together. If trust is eroding in your relationship and your partner seems to be pulling away emotionally and physically, it may be time to have an honest conversation and address your concerns. Ultimately, understanding these potential signs can help you protect your heart and make the best decisions moving forward. 1. Changes in communication patterns. Decreased communication. When a partner starts to pull away emotionally, communication can often suffer. They may become less interested in sharing their daily experiences, thoughts, or feelings, which were once a normal part of your interactions. Conversations might feel strained or forced, or you may notice they avoid discussing anything meaningful. If your partner is no longer sharing the small details of their day, it could signal that they are emotionally invested elsewhere. Increased secrecy. Secrecy can be one of the most telling signs of infidelity. If your partner begins to take extra measures to protect their phone, laptop, or social media accounts, it may indicate they have something to hide. They might be changing passwords frequently or hiding texts and messages from you. Social media profiles that were once open may become locked or private, and they might start to delete messages or apps that would have previously been left open. This secretive behavior can create a sense of distance, as they begin to shield aspects of their life from you. Avoiding eye contact. While it's natural for people to look away during certain moments of discomfort, a sudden and consistent avoidance of eye contact could point to guilt. People who are lying or hiding something often struggle to maintain eye contact, subconsciously feeling uncomfortable under scrutiny. If your partner avoids eye contact during conversations, especially when you're talking about sensitive or important issues, it might suggest they are being deceptive. Vague answers. When questioned about their whereabouts or activities, a partner who is hiding something may give inconsistent or evasive responses. You might notice they get defensive or struggle to provide specific details about what they were doing. For example, they may say, "I was just hanging out with some friends," without elaborating on who they were with, where, or what they were doing. This lack of transparency could be an attempt to cover up their actions and avoid further scrutiny. 2. Emotional distance. Lack of emotional intimacy. One of the most noticeable signs of a shift in a relationship is the loss of emotional intimacy. If your partner becomes emotionally distant, they may seem uninterested in your feelings, no longer engage in deep conversations, or fail to provide comfort when you're going through tough times. This detachment can leave you feeling disconnected and confused, as your partner becomes less involved in maintaining the emotional bond you once shared. Decreased affection. Physical and emotional affection are crucial in maintaining a healthy relationship. If your partner suddenly starts pulling away, both physically and emotionally, it can be a warning sign. You may notice a lack of cuddling, hugging, kissing, or verbal affirmations like compliments or expressions of love. This decrease in affection can indicate that they no longer feel the same level of connection or attraction toward you, and their emotional energy may be directed elsewhere. Irritability or defensiveness. When someone is hiding something or feeling guilty, they might become overly defensive or easily irritated when questioned about their behavior. You may find that asking about their day or expressing concerns about the relationship leads to a negative reaction. This defensiveness is often a tactic to deflect suspicion and avoid addressing the issue head-on. They might become angry at you for asking questions or accuse you of being paranoid or controlling, rather than calmly addressing your concerns. Disinterest in future plans, a lack of enthusiasm for planning your future together can be a significant red flag. If your partner stops discussing long-term goals, such as vacations, milestones, or even just the next few weeks, it could signal a lack of commitment. They may become nonchalant or uninterested when you try to talk about the future, indicating that they no longer see you as part of their long-term plans. This emotional disengagement can point to their dwindling investment in the relationship and potential emotional involvement elsewhere. 3. Changes in routine. Unexplained absences. One of the most noticeable changes in behavior can be an increase in your partner's time away from home. They may suddenly start spending more time out without providing clear or satisfactory explanations. Whether it's staying out late without checking in, or being unusually vague about where they've been, these unexplained absences can raise red flags. They might claim they were with friends, at work, or out running errands, but the lack of clarity or consistency in their story can make you feel uneasy. Working late frequently. If your partner frequently mentions working late, especially if this wasn't a pattern before, it can be an indicator that something is off. The "late night at the office" excuse can be a convenient cover-up for secret meetings or spending time with someone else. Of course, work demands can occasionally require longer hours, but when this becomes a regular pattern and you're not seeing any other signs of increased responsibility, it's worth taking note. You may also notice that when they claim to be working late, they're suddenly less available to you in other ways, like missing calls or not answering texts. New hobbies or interests. If your partner suddenly takes up new activities or hobbies without inviting you to join in or show interest in the activity, it could be a sign that they're seeking fulfillment outside of the relationship. For example, they might start going to the gym more, taking dance classes, or getting involved in a new group or social circle you're not included in. While it's normal for people to pursue their interests, when these activities are done in secret or without involving you, it may suggest they're trying to distance themselves from the relationship emotionally and socially. Unaccounted time gaps. Another sign to watch out for is the sudden appearance of unexplained gaps in your partner's schedule. If they seem to disappear for a few hours with no explanation or you can't reach them during certain times of day, this can be concerning. When you try to ask about their whereabouts, they may be vague or avoid the question altogether. If they're often unreachable and it becomes a regular occurrence, it can signal that they are spending time elsewhere, possibly with someone else. 4. Physical appearance and grooming. Sudden interest in appearance. One of the more telling signs of infidelity is when your partner suddenly starts paying much more attention to their appearance than usual. If they begin dressing differently, spending more time grooming, or engaging in activities like hitting the gym regularly, it might indicate that they're trying to look their best for someone else. A partner who's never been overly concerned with their appearance might suddenly invest in new clothes, change their hairstyle, or develop a routine that focuses heavily on their looks. If this new interest doesn't seem to include you or is done in secret, it can be a red flag. New fragrances. A sudden change in your partner's scent, such as wearing a new cologne or perfume you didn't buy for them, can be a subtle but telling sign of infidelity. People who cheat often start using different fragrances, either to mask the scent of someone else or to impress their new partner. If you notice a new scent that doesn't seem to fit with your partner's usual style or one that you didn't purchase for them, it could be a sign that they're trying to cover up something or someone. Unexplained marks or scents. Physical signs like unfamiliar lipstick marks, scratches, or unusual scents on your partner's clothing can be difficult to ignore. While some of these might seem like small, isolated incidents, they can be significant. For example, you may notice lipstick marks on their collar or strange scents that don't match their usual perfume or cologne. These signs may suggest that your partner has been intimate with someone else and left traces of their encounter behind. If your partner is coming home with unfamiliar scents or visible marks, it's essential to address these concerns directly to understand what's going on. 5. Financial changes. Unexplained expenses. A sudden shift in your partner's spending habits can be an alarming sign, particularly if there are unexplained charges on credit card statements or strange withdrawals from joint bank accounts. If they are making purchases you weren't aware of, or if you're noticing more secretive financial activity, it's worth investigating. They might be spending money on gifts or activities that they don't want you to know about, which could indicate they are financially supporting someone else, or at least trying to keep their actions hidden from you. Secretive spending. If your partner begins to hide their financial activity or keeps a separate bank account, this could suggest that they are trying to conceal something. Secretive behavior around money might involve avoiding sharing credit card statements or becoming evasive when you ask about certain expenses. They may even start to hide their receipts or refuse to discuss their purchases with you. Financial secrecy can often be linked to an affair, as the person involved may want to keep their activities hidden and avoid revealing how their money is being spent. Gifts you didn't receive. A red flag can be when your partner buys gifts or other items, but you never see them. They might be buying thoughtful presents that are never shared with you, or you might hear about these gifts through indirect means, like a friend or family member mentioning them. These gifts could be intended for someone else, signaling that they may be emotionally or romantically involved with another person. If your partner starts bringing home new items or purchasing things for someone you don't know, it's time to question their motives. 6. Social and behavioral changes. Changes in social circle. Infidelity can often lead to a shift in your partner's social interactions. They may start spending time with new people, friends or colleagues, who you're not introduced to, or they may exclude you from social events that once involved you both. This could be an attempt to avoid you or hide the fact that they are engaging in an affair. They might even begin to form close connections with a person they are cheating with, making it harder to detect the truth. The exclusion from social activities that once included you could indicate they are investing time and energy elsewhere. Decreased interest in family events. If your partner begins avoiding family gatherings or events they once enjoyed, this could signal a deeper emotional withdrawal. Family events are often a time for couples to bond and show affection, so a sudden disinterest or avoidance may be a sign that their priorities are shifting. They might come up with excuses, like being too busy or not feeling well, but consistently opting out of important events can indicate they no longer value these shared experiences, or worse, that they are preoccupied with someone else. Overly critical. If your partner starts becoming unusually critical of you or your relationship, it may be a tactic to create emotional distance or justify their actions. Being overly critical can serve as a deflection technique, allowing them to avoid feeling guilty about their behavior by placing blame on you. They might criticize small things you do, or they might start pointing out flaws in the relationship that weren't issues before. This change in behavior can be a way to diminish your worth or make themselves feel better about their own actions. Guilt-driven behavior. Sometimes, when someone feels guilty about their actions, they may overcompensate by being overly affectionate or generous. If your partner begins showering you with compliments, gifts, or love out of nowhere, it could be a sign that they are trying to ease their conscience. This kind of behavior may be driven by a sense of guilt over their infidelity, and while it can feel nice in the moment, it may be an attempt to cover up their wrongdoings. If the sudden surge in affection seems out of character or overly forced, it could be an effort to make you overlook their secretive actions. 7. Technology and social media clues. Increased phone usage. One of the most common signs of infidelity is an increase in your partner's phone usage, particularly at odd hours or in private. They may suddenly become more protective of their phone, hiding it or shielding it from view, and become defensive if you ask about it. If they used to leave their phone out in the open but now keep it constantly with them or tucked away, it could suggest they are communicating with someone they don't want you to know about. Hidden devices. In an attempt to maintain secrecy, your partner might start using hidden apps, secret folders, or even secondary devices, such as a second phone or tablet, to communicate with someone else. These hidden apps could include vault apps that store messages or photos. If they've suddenly become secretive about their phone or computer use, it's a red flag worth investigating further. Social media behavior. Changes in social media behavior can also indicate infidelity. If your partner unfollows you or hides posts, especially if they start interacting more frequently with certain people in a way that feels suspicious, such as liking or commenting on someone's posts more often, it could point to emotional or physical involvement with someone else. Some may even block you on platforms or create separate social media profiles to communicate secretly. Deleted messages or calls. Frequent deletion of call logs, texts, or browsing history may signal that your partner is hiding something. If they suddenly start erasing conversations, avoiding letting you see their phone, or denying certain activities they've done, it can suggest that they are attempting to cover up their communications or actions with someone else. 8. Intuition and gut feelings. Trust your instincts. Sometimes, your intuition can tell you that something is off, even if there's no solid proof. If you have a nagging feeling that your partner may be cheating, it's important to listen to your gut. Our subconscious often picks up on subtle cues or changes in behavior that our conscious mind may not immediately notice. Increased anxiety or suspicion. When you're in a relationship where you feel something isn't right, you may find yourself constantly questioning your partner's actions. You might feel anxious or suspicious, unable to shake the feeling that something is wrong, even if there is no concrete evidence. This ongoing unease can indicate that your partner's behavior is starting to create doubt and mistrust. 9. Changes in sexual behavior. Decreased intimacy. A noticeable decrease in physical intimacy is one of the most common signs that something might be amiss in a relationship. If your partner suddenly shows less interest in being intimate with you or avoids physical affection altogether, it could suggest that their emotional and physical needs are being met elsewhere. This emotional detachment can create a noticeable void between you both. New techniques or preferences. If your partner introduces new sexual techniques, preferences, or desires that feel unfamiliar or out of character, it might be a sign that they are exploring new avenues of intimacy outside the relationship. While it's natural for people to change or try new things, introducing sudden changes without discussing them with you could indicate they are mimicking behaviors from someone else. Unexplained absences after intimacy. After being intimate, a partner who is cheating might suddenly withdraw or become distant. They may leave the house immediately after sex or act unusually cold and distant. This behavior could be linked to guilt or shame, making them want to distance themselves after intimacy. Alternatively, they may leave or become occupied with someone else right after intimate moments with you. 10. Evidence of lies or deception. Inconsistent stories. If you start noticing inconsistencies in your partner's explanations for their actions or whereabouts, it can signal that they are lying or hiding something. They might tell you one version of events but later provide a different story, which can be a sign that they are trying to cover up the truth. Catching them in lies. Sometimes, the lies become so obvious that you catch your partner in a lie. These can start small but escalate over time. Once you've caught them in a lie, it becomes harder to trust them, especially if they continue to make up stories or provide contradicting explanations. These lies may involve their whereabouts, their interactions with others, or things they claim to have done. Overly detailed explanations. When someone is lying, they often provide too many details in an attempt to make their story seem more credible. If your partner is giving overly detailed explanations for simple questions, particularly about things they didn't use to elaborate on, it could be a sign they are trying to cover up the truth. 11. Changes in their relationship with you. Increased arguments. When a partner is cheating, they may become more irritable or argumentative. These increased conflicts can act as a way to create emotional distance, or they might even be an attempt to justify their behavior. They may accuse you of being overly suspicious or paranoid, which helps deflect attention away from their own guilt. Less quality time. If your partner starts spending less time with you and prioritizing other activities, people, or work, it can indicate they're withdrawing emotionally or physically from the relationship. They may start making excuses to avoid spending time together, either because they're involved with someone else or because they're mentally checked out of the relationship. Lack of empathy. One of the clearest signs of emotional detachment is a lack of empathy. If your partner suddenly shows less concern for your feelings or needs, it could suggest that they are emotionally invested elsewhere. This lack of empathy can make it harder to feel emotionally connected, and it may be a sign that they are no longer fully committed to the relationship. 12. External clues. Rumors or gossip. Sometimes, friends, family members, or colleagues may notice changes in behavior that you haven't seen. You might hear rumors or comments suggesting that your partner is acting differently or being seen with someone else. These external observations can offer valuable insight and give you a reason to investigate further. Unusual encounters. You might begin noticing that strangers or acquaintances act strangely around you or your partner. They might seem uncomfortable or give you knowing looks. This can happen if people outside of your relationship are aware of the infidelity and are trying to avoid confrontation or reveal the truth. Physical evidence. Finding physical evidence, such as receipts from restaurants, hotel keys, or clothing items that don't belong to you, can be one of the more obvious signs of cheating. If you stumble upon things that don't add up, like unexplained purchases or unfamiliar items, it's important to address these findings directly with your partner. What to do if you suspect cheating? Stay calm. It's crucial to remain calm and avoid confronting your partner in anger or without clear evidence. Acting impulsively can escalate the situation and potentially damage the relationship beyond repair. Gather information. While you shouldn't invade your partner's privacy excessively, you can keep a record of suspicious behavior or evidence that might help clarify the situation. Avoid jumping to conclusions, and focus on gathering the facts. Communicate openly. Have an honest conversation with your partner about your concerns. Approach the topic calmly, and express your feelings without accusing them outright. Ask open-ended questions and give them the space to explain their side of the story. Seek support. Talking to a trusted friend, family member, or therapist can provide emotional support and clarity during this difficult time. They can offer an outside perspective and help you navigate your feelings. Evaluate the relationship. If you confirm infidelity, you'll need to decide whether the relationship is worth saving. Rebuilding trust takes time and effort, and it's essential to weigh the emotional toll and potential for growth before making any decisions about your future together. Final thoughts. While these signs can indicate infidelity, they are not definitive proof of cheating. Many behaviors can stem from stress, personal issues, or misunderstandings. It's important to approach the situation with empathy and understanding, keeping in mind that confronting cheating is a deeply emotional and complex matter. Ultimately, your well-being and happiness matter most. Whether you choose to rebuild the relationship or move on, you deserve a relationship built on honesty, trust, and respect.